This is my iPhone 13. It's a 512 gigabyte, currently green model that you may have guessed is running iOS 15, but it's actually running iOS 16.2. This lock screen looks like iOS 15 as I've been back to writing some more custom jailbreak tweaks. I do own an iPhone 13 running iOS 15. I'm actually recording on it right now, but in this video, we're gonna focus on this one. Now, like I said, this is a 512 gigabyte, currently green iPhone 13. And when I say currently green, that's because this phone has a story behind it. You see, this phone wasn't always green. From the factory, this phone was a midnight phone, and I actually initially got it before the green one was even released. Here's the story. In December of 2021, I got a midnight 512 gigabyte iPhone 13. This phone was one of my favorite phones that I ever owned. I babied it, I took care of it as much as I could, and I kept it in relatively good condition for a while. Until about 10 months after I got it, it got kind of wrecked. It got hit so hard that the metal frame actually snapped on the 5G antenna. The entire back shattered. The original OLED was absolutely demolished. And after this, I actually ended up downgrading to an iPhone XS. About 3 months later, I decided to finally fix this phone. At the time, I had loved the green color so much, and of course, had never owned one. So I made it a green one. I bought this green housing, which at the time was absolutely mint, and a brand new iPhone 13 screen. And the phone was absolutely gorgeous. I decided pretty quickly, although I did love the phone, my mom needed a new phone, so I ended up gifting it to her. About a month and a half after I gave it to her, for one, dropped it, and through the case, the concrete managed to gouge the phone and put some nice cracks in the back. Somehow managed to completely kill the screen that I had on the device. I'm not sure exactly what happened. This is what it looked like when I opened it up. It's still mint, but it has a screen protector on it, which does have a few cracks. And just for reference on time period, this was back in, I believe, February of 2023. The phone then sat around in a drawer from the span of February 2023 until November of 2023 when I purchased this screen that's currently on the phone. This shattered OEM OLED display that I got just to make the phone usable again, if you could even call it that. The screen cost me like $35, maybe $40 at the time, and I just wanted to have the phone functional. And ever since I bought this screen, I realized whenever I do get the money to do so, I really need to do a complete restoration of this phone. That's what today's video is. Here I have a really nice condition midnight iPhone 13 housing that's completely empty that I got my hands on for about 23 bucks. It's got a few dust marks on the back from a case and some very small marks on the bottom two corners. But as this phone's gonna be in a case, as long as it's not cracked or really majorly beat up, it doesn't matter that much to me. And for the price I paid, I think it's in pretty nice shape. Along with that, I have an absolutely gorgeous, technically used, but in cosmetically brand new condition, OEM OLED display. It is in an LCD box, although when examining it, it is pretty easy to tell that this is an original. As the screen doesn't have a single scratch on it, I am just keeping it in here until I need to actually put it on the phone. And because I want to keep this phone in good shape after I have it restored, and the old case that I had on it was starting to fall apart, this Apple silicone case has lasted me a while. I bought it when I fixed the phone in October 2023, and at the time it was already kind of beat. I went ahead and picked up a brand new Phone Rebel Frosted Gen 3, as they were going for a pretty good price on eBay. This is the one with the MagSafe, and I think it looks pretty clean. Now, I would have gotten a Gen 4, but unfortunately, they were all sold out. One last thing I want to mention before we get started. While I'm doing this complete housing swap, as this is completely empty, I'm going to be taking a lot of small parts out of the old iPhone 13 housing, as I am going to be repurposing this green housing, as it's still in pretty decent shape, and most likely putting it on my iOS 15 13, as the frame on this one is in pretty rough shape. Way worse than this one right here, and the green, of course, is still a pretty color. I just wanted to make mine original again. But like I said, a lot of small parts are going to be coming from this frame, except for one very specific antenna that is missing from here. Anyways, I'm done yapping. I'm too excited about this. Let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first step of this entire repair is just getting the logic board and that one specific antenna, along with the Face ID stuff, out of this old housing, as everything else can stay in here because I'm going to repurpose it. Let's start with that. Okay, so it turns out I actually do not need to remove the little antenna from up inside of the green housing. I actually found the one that I removed from the old midnight housing a while ago. I still cannot for the life of me remember the reason that I did, but I found the antenna and it looks intact, so I'm just gonna be using this one. It's now time to go ahead and put the green housing to the side for now and begin transferring all the various small parts, including the dock connector, even speaker grills, flash, microphones, everything over to this new midnight housing. Let's get started. Okay, so after about 2.5 hours or so, I now have the phone fully built. I went ahead and installed a tempered glass screen protector on the screen as it's completely perfect. There's some teeny tiny spots under the protector that I'll have to massage out, but I know I can get them out. But now I just want to go ahead and turn on the phone for the first time to test out and make sure that it is still working. And the Apple logo is definitely a good sign. Here we are at the lock screen. Go ahead and put in my code. And so far, so good. I'm gonna go ahead and off camera test a few things and then I'll get right back to you guys. Okay, I've now confirmed that everything is fully functioning on the phone. Just again, I am running iOS 16. I had the iOS 15 lock screen. That's just some custom jailbreak tweaks I wrote when I was jailbroken. But now I need to go ahead and shut the phone off and add a sensor to the back of the screen. I need to check and see what screen of mine has the original sensor because I can't remember. But I'm gonna do that, seal up the phone, and then I'll be back. And finally, after way too much work, here we are with a gorgeous iPhone 13. I've finally completed the iPhone 13 restoration that I wanted to do for a full 2 years now. And I'm gonna be honest, this was the best $120 that I've spent in a while. Putting in extra money for a nice case to put this thing in was most definitely worth it and is making the user experience with this phone a lot nicer. I'm absolutely loving the matte finish on this frosted Rebel Series Gen 3 case from Phone Rebel. I had one very similar on my 14 Pro a couple months after I got it. It did not have the MagSafe on it. I went with the MagSafe one this time as I thought it looked a little better, and I could not be more satisfied with the results. I put my iOS 15, iPhone 13 into the green housing and, of course, slapped another new case on it. This one's more generic. This one is from a brand called JE Tech. This one was, I believe, about 19 bucks, but I think it was definitely worth purchasing. I love the feel of it. I love the dark, somewhat frosted finish on the back. Not as frosted as the Rebel Series case, but at the same time, it still looks quite nice. And for the price, I can't argue about it. But that's not what you guys came here to see. Now, one thing I do want to say is right after the time lapse turned off, which I recorded on this phone, by the way, I had a little bit of a fight with this phone. I just finished putting it all together. I'd finally put on the proximity sensor or ambient light sensor, or whichever one it is. It's up here on the back of the screen. I'd screwed everything into place, was about to seal up the phone and hit the power button to test it one last time, and the phone did not turn on. I just about lost my mind. Thankfully I did not, and the next morning I went ahead and tried one last thing, and that was swapping it back to the green housing, and it booted up first try. Put it back into the gorgeous midnight housing, and it turned on first try again after putting everything together. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it most definitely scared me. Nevertheless, I am extremely satisfied with this iPhone 13 restoration. something I've wanted to do for 2 years now. And I'm also, at the same time, very glad I was able to repurpose the green housing, as it's still a gorgeous color and in good enough condition to put in a translucent case. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing, as of right now, only 3.4% of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel. So if you're new, please smash that subscribe button, and you can help me in reaching 7,000 subscribers. I know we just hit 6,000, but why not shoot for 7K? And I also wanted to thank you guys so much for all the support on my 16 Pro Max unboxing video. It's been up for almost 50 days now, and 200,000 views is something that I honestly can't even wrap my head around. Thank you. And one thing that I also want to do that I have forgotten to do over my last 2 or 3 videos is member shoutouts. So I do have channel memberships if you would like to join. You can visit my channel in a desktop web browser such as Safari or Chrome. If you're doing it on your phone, just tell it to load the desktop page and you'll be all good. And you should see a join button. One thing that I've forgotten to do is give member shoutouts at the end of my videos, which I'm going to do this time. As of right now, I have 1 member. Huge thanks to Mark for joining the channel memberships. He joined the first day that I announced them. Mark has been a longtime viewer of my channel. This is not his channel, it's his personal account. He does run a channel called Apple Helper Mark. If you'd like to check him out, click in the top right now, or down in the description. He would really appreciate a subscribe. And that's about all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. This is a project I've wanted to do for a while, and I'm so glad that it's finally done. Anyways, enough yapping. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, peace out, guys.